Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. I'm Udar Pratap Singh. Our big focus this hour. Bangladesh's interim head Mohammad Yunus has once again stirred diplomatic unease by treading into the issue of India's northeast. Yunus, who was hosting Pakistan's Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee chairperson General Shahir Shamshad Mirza, presented the visiting general with a highly controversial gift. General Mirza, who is the senior-most Pakistani military officer to visit Dhaka since the two sides began rebuilding ties, was presented with a book titled Art of Triumph that carried a distorted map of Bangladesh that included parts of India's northeast by Yunus. The pictures of the meeting as well as the gift presentation were shared by Yunus on X and have sparked outrage. The map showing India's 7 northeast states as part of Bangladesh territory, aligned with radical Islamist groups, calls for a greater Bangladesh. The development comes amidst a thaw in Bangladesh-Pakistan ties since Yunus took charge in August 2024 following the fall of the Sheikh Hasina-led Awami League regime. This is not the first time that Yunus has invoked India's northeast. Over the past few months, Yunus has made repeated references to India's landlocked northeastern states in foreign engagements. Abuyob Bhuyan, founder of The Truth India, is joining us live. Ambassador Suresh Goyal, former diplomat, is live with us. Major General G.D. Dwivedi, strategic affairs analyst, is joining us live. Pathikrit Pine, foreign affairs expert, joins us on the broadcast. Joyita Basu, editor, The Sunday Guardian, is also with us live. Let me begin with you first, Abuyob Bhuyan. What do you make of this gesture by Mohammad Yunus? Has it been done deliberately or is it an accident?
Firstly, thank you for inviting. I feel this is a deliberate move because this is not just the first instance where we have seen Mohammad Yunus try to give an idea that northeastern states of India are part of Bangladesh. Previously, there has been another instance where Yunus rightly claimed that China has the rights to annex the part of Northeast and make it a part of them. And now this particular move is not yet making headlines in Assam. I am shocked to know or understand why, but this I feel is not just a regional issue, but it is a national issue. It should be an issue of national security rather than just be a issue of narratives. Mohammad Yunus, ever since he has been appointed as the head of the interim government in Bangladesh, has been trying to impose this idea or build up this narrative that northeastern states are merely landlocked. And I feel, considering the geopolitical scenario surrounding the nations around India, specifically around northeastern state, I feel this is a highly cautious issue and this should be treated as a national issue, whereas it is not just about the regional sentiment or just a mere narrative, but something which has to be bordered as a national security. We have seen already police cracking down many sleeper cells across different parts of Assam. So I feel these cannot be mere coincidence, but this can be something which might have been plotted as well. So I feel we should take this very seriously, and being part of the northeastern state, I feel this is a primary security issue which concerns the northeast, because this is not just the first time. We have a history where Muslim League previously, ever since India got independence, we have seen the Muslim League trying to build a narrative that northeastern states always were part of Bangladesh or always was supposed to be part of Bangladesh. So I feel Mohammad Yunus has a vested interest and we should thoroughly see this as a national security issue.
Okay, let me ask you also, Abuyob, about this pattern. With Mohammad Yunus repeatedly referencing and referring to the Northeast in his prior speeches, what is he getting at? And also, is this part of radical Islamist ideology as well? This is something that they've been trying to get at earlier too, in previous instances by claiming right over this territory.
Definitely, it has something to really do with what Mohammad Yunus is currently thinking to do with the northeastern state, because specifically, if I have to break it down, in parts of lower Assam, where I am residing, it's what we consider as lower Assam. There is a huge consumption of content online by the people of Bangladesh. Since I am directly connected with the digital platform or I am working on the internet, I have seen a big influx of consumption of the internet and contents from Assam from Bangladesh. Here we have seen political parties is alleging another political party for using cells from Bangladesh to impose their ideology, which is, I feel there is a direct connection with the idea of imposing this radical Islamic thought process. Uh, the the existence or the idea that we really found sleeper cells in different parts of Assam clearly signifies the idea that the radicalization of Islamic forces is happening in the state. And with that happening, Muhammad Yunus' idea of giving this impression that the northeastern states are all part of Bangladesh cannot be a mere coincidence, like I have previously said. So I feel whatever you have said, I completely agree. Plus, I want to add on the consumption of the presence of Bangladeshi people consuming content from Assam or trying to impose their radical Islamist idea across different part of northeastern states, and Muhammad Yunus deliberately trying to merge this image of northeastern state cannot be a mere coincidence, and it should be treated as a serious security issue.
Okay, let me take that to you, Ambassador Goel. Ambassador Goel, what do you make of this, move by Muhammad Yunus? And also, do you believe perhaps what makes this even more deliberate and calculated was the fact that it happened with a meeting of a top Pakistani general?
Uday, I think we need to put a few facts together here. First of all, please remember that Muhammad Yunus is a creation of the USA. He has been planted as Chief Executive Officer of Bangladesh by the USA. And therefore, he is carrying on the agenda. And I'm not saying it very deliberately. It is not past any kind of thought, suspicion, whatever you want to call it, that he is there carrying out the agenda of the USA, number one. Number two, Yunus has in the past talked about the northeastern states of India as being part of the greater Bangladesh, but he has just vocalized it. It was kind of a political vocalization of what the dream or what the rhetoric is, or what basically his own aspirations and ambitions might have been. It was never ever put, and now I'm very serious about this, it was never ever put to any Pakistani military leader as a kind of what he thinks of Bangladesh plus the northeast states. It is very serious. Number three, if he is a creation of the USA, do you think he will be able to do it without any, I was going to use the word clearance or approval, but without any knowledge of the USA? And I think therefore we are getting into very serious territory here. What I thought and what I'm thinking now is that I'm now witnessing Yunus acting on basically, acting in, not on, acting in consultation, in knowledge of the USA into an area which basically leading to what we have known as the Indian territory. I have never known, even during any kind of a regime, Democrat Republic, but they have been very sensitive to the Indian thoughts. I've never known any USA president being very clear on how they look at the Jammu and Kashmir issue, not in the United Nations, not bilaterally. And therefore, we have always debated internally on what USA attitude on the Jammu and Kashmir issue has been.
Yes.
But we have let it go. But today, what we are seeing is that even on our eastern flank, there is a deliberate attempt to break away the Indian territory from, and when you basically give the design away to Pakistan, you are working with Pakistan to really do the damage to India.
Absolutely. And this has happened, of course, Major General Dwivedi, at a time when obviously there has been a thaw in Bangladesh-Pakistan ties. There are these continuous meetings and dialogue taking place, including the most recent one where this move was made to give this message out that Bangladesh also is trying to, take a part of Indian territory as its own?
Uday, first and foremost, I think we as a country has a culture of taking the issues only one at a time. We generally don't give a very strategic, insight into what is going on, and therefore we don't join the dots. We take the dots in isolation. Having spent long years in the Northeast, ironically, we have underplayed the sensitivity of the Northeast region, and that's one of the major flaws. Second point is we need to see what exactly is happening on the strategic issues. There is a trilateral which is developing with China as the main player and Pakistan and Bangladesh as the pawns, and Chinese are actually playing this great game, and they are the ones who are actually setting the stage and bringing Pakistan and Bangladesh together. And over last about 10 months, we have seen number of military visits from Pakistan into Bangladesh, including ISI, Bangladesh officers visiting Pakistan, their joint military cooperation that is being worked out, how Pakistan is going to train the Bangladesh pilots on the J-10 which they are going to buy. Now, what is all this going on? This is simply a kind of a trap that is being set by China on the Northeast. And in this, I think few points need merit and consideration. Firstly, I think on the Ladakh side, Chinese have achieved what they want. They are almost on the so-called 1959 line, and having served there also for good some time, I don't think Chinese have now major interest in Ladakh. They are major interested in Northeast, and in this, first and foremost, they have militarized the Tibet per se. Only yesterday there was a big news that how they are making 6 airfield very close to the line of actual control. They are actually Lunze, where they have constructed 35 hardened shelters. Means they will be able to put the aircraft under the shelters. Tingri, Burang. Secondly, how the Lalmuri Hat in the airport, which is being developed just 20 kilometers from the Siliguri corridor. How the demographic inundation is taking place, especially in the Halakandi, Krimganj area where I commanded the division, and how radicalization is taking place. ISI and the LAT are active in training the radicalized elements. So all I can say is this is a very, very serious issue. This has to be taken as an integrated threat to India. Chinese are playing a great game, and Pakistan and Bangladesh are actually the players on the ground. I think America is slightly on the sideline. But you see, Chinese are investing $20 billion. They are developing the Chittagong as a major naval facility. They have a naval facility coming on the Chowpyu on the Gawada side. So while Bangladesh said that they have the actual access to Bay of Bengal, they are not wrong. They are actually only furthering the Chinese agenda. So in a nutshell, what I can say is
Yes.
we need to take a very serious look. Northeast is developing a new frontier. We need to get over Op Sindoor and prepare for what is coming up, and that's the reality, and that reality cannot be wished away. Uday.
And do you expect this pattern to continue, Pathikrit Payan? Do you believe that this pattern is going to continue with this kind of saber rattling by Bangladesh? These kind of, these claims, absolutely baseless and preposterous on the northeast of India by Muhammad Yunus, his supporters, and the radical Islamic lobby over there, which is obviously in power.
But Uday, it's not about Yunus only. It has been that first it was East Pakistan and then Bangladesh. They have worked for it for probably several decades. I mean, the systematic manner in which the demographic shift has happened is perhaps for a reason, because a lot of people in Bangladesh, sadly, but a lot of intellectuals also have this perception that no, the partition was not complete, so West Bengal, Bihar, Jharkhand, and the whole of Northeast belongs to Bangladesh. That is their mindset. And they have been systematically working towards it while we were harping only about 1971 victory. What happened post 1971 victory, the way the Islamist organizations work to radicalize the entire country and take them away from India. To the extent that most people up till recent past never even acknowledged the role of India in 1971 war. They work towards it. There is a systematic demographic shift which has happened. So if you see a significant portion of Assam is being shown, I am sure they will never be able to achieve that goal, but they have worked towards it in terms of demographic shift, and we were all sleeping that time. For several decades we slept, thinking that Bangladesh is not a problem. So, and if you look at this, see, I have a slight problem in the sense that if we think that Yunus is a American proxy and is taking instructions from China only, and US has nothing to do with that, there's a problem in that thought process. The fact is, both the Chinese and the Americans may have an interest in the whole thing. The issue is that the Bangladeshis are more than willing to play into this, and they have worked towards that. So the issue is, again, it's not just about what Yunus is doing now. It's only that Yunus has exposed the plan. It is only that they have exposed it. But the kind of demographic shift, radicalization, the entire economy in the border regions, border districts run with fake currency, narcotics, illegal human trafficking, and then arms, illegal arms coming in, funded by fake currency, and then the money that is generated is used for radicalization. Eventually, the Hindus are made minority and they shift away. So there's a different ecosystem which works over there, which is instructed perhaps from Bangladesh. And it's not, one thing we have to understand, it is not a radical Islamist jihadi ideology or their perception of things only. Even the most intellectual Bangladeshi believe that the whole of Northeast is theirs. So we have to work accordingly and take it as a very, very serious threat. It is a very serious threat. It is not a small threat. Unfortunately, and I agree with General Dwivedi when he mentioned about Northeast, for a long period of time in this country, in Northeast, we allowed the conversion. The missionaries came and converted, we were okay with it. We ignored the threat that is coming out of it. For a long time, the demographic shift kept on happening, we ignored it.
Yes.
It's only that in the last, say, 10 years, some actions we are seeing right now. But somewhere, if we keep on ignoring, I'm not saying we are ignoring it right now.
Yes.
But a time will come, you would have a potential possibility of a military-grade kinetic.
And do you believe it's no coincidence? Do you believe it's no coincidence that this message to India and to whoever else they want to give it to is being given, with this meeting with a senior Pakistani General, Joita Basu? Is that timing and messaging also pretty clear and apparent? And how should India then be responding and dealing with the Yunus and this kind of mindset that exists now?
Uday, if I'm not mistaken, this particular book that Yunus presented to this Pakistani general, he had kept that book very strategically during the, on the table or somewhere on his lap during the visit of our Foreign Secretary, Vikram Misri. If you remember the first visit that he went and met him earlier in the year, I distinctly remember this because the name of the book was the same. He did not dare to present the book to the Indian Foreign Secretary, goes without saying, but he had kept it with him during the meeting. I'll check up more on this, but I'm pretty certain about that. Okay, so and then what he does is that he gifts this book to the Pakistani general. We know what exactly the problem with this particular man is, that he thinks he has the US backing. In fact, if you think, Asim Munir also thinks that he has US backing, Trump's backing specifically. And as a result of which, they have all become very bold. All right. And because of that, what we are witnessing, in fact, Yunus, right from the beginning, he was kind of, I would say, his sustenance, his audacity, the kind of stuff that he has been talking about, he thought he came in because he thought that he was the representative of the American government over there. So that is the reason why. And of course, then he got into this China bit. But the whole point is that if you are looking at it, you have to look at it in terms of how the Bangladeshi population is as well. Because Bangladeshi population, in spite of, let's put it this way, the Hasina part of it, the Hasina and the Sheikh Mujibur part and the Awami League part of it, although they're the most major party or mainstream party over there, they are the nationalists. But Bangladesh has a very strong Razakar core, and that is because they were under Pakistan for decades, and these Razakars were basically collaborators with Pakistan. And Yunus comes from the Razakar stock. His brother was arrested by Mujibur Rahman for being a collaborator. So, and it is now that Razakar stock that is in power in Bangladesh. They are pro-Pakistan, they are anti-India, they are hardcore. Let's put it this way, a very thin line separates them from becoming a militant or a terrorist. But their cadre, I would say, I mean the people on the ground, and solid radicalization has taken place. I've been to Dhaka, I've heard this also, that this Jamaat people, because this madrasas, they control the Bangladeshi, and it's immensely poor people. So they are feeding them, they are giving them education, they are radicalizing their mind. And even if a country like Bangladesh of I think 330 million people or something like that, even if 10% of that population or 20% of that population is radicalized in terms of, and they come out on the streets, in terms of actual numbers, think of the terror state that Yunus and company that are they are breeding over there in that particular terror state. And I agree, a large part of it, the US, because of its own interests, is turning a blind eye to it. To an extent, I would say, I mean, just imagine Trump, who was talking against Yunus before coming to power, he was certainly, we saw him that day, standing with Yunus and his daughter, smiling with all his 32 teeth, 32 out, and getting himself photographed. It seems like a total change of 180-degree shift in policy is taking place.
Right.
Now, what we have to do is that, you see, sadly enough, we have to militarize this border as well.
Okay. Okay. Ambassador Goel, I'll leave a quick last word to you on how India should be dealing with this and how we should be perhaps responding to this officially.
Uday, what we are actually discussing today is a very serious issue. We can't dismiss this like this. We are seeing basically again a repetition of the same kind of Cold War mentality, USA coming together now, basically using Pakistan to encircle us. I thought that Trump really would have a better mind, and he would think in terms of India as a supporter, as a friend, rather than as somebody who needs to be basically taken to task for whatever better word, for challenging or for basically maintaining the strategic autonomy. But now what we are seeing, what I'm seeing here, is the same kind of a regional conflict coming up, with Pakistan playing a central role and Bangladesh joining them from our eastern border. We are in for difficult times and need to be careful about it.
All right.
Just
My
one
thanks
last point.
to all our
Can you
guests for. Okay, 10 seconds. I'm just completely out of
Yeah, I just want to also bring out the Bangladesh army is getting radicalized, and what Joyita had brought out, the Razakars are entering the Bangladesh army in a big way, and this Bangladesh army is also getting radicalized, which is a very serious issue, because that will actually mean that whole Bangladesh will ultimately come under the umbrella of the radicalized elements. Thank you, Uday.
All right. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us on the broadcast. More breaking news, in fact, now coming in this hour. Major General Yusuf Mayuf Syed Al-Halimi, the commander of the UAE Land Forces, is called on Chief of Army Staff General Upendra Dwivedi. The discussions focused on strengthening bilateral defense cooperation, fostering deeper military engagements, and reinforcing the shared commitment of both armies towards regional peace and security. Ajay Jandya joins us for more on this story. Ajay, what transpired in this meeting?
What we have seen that for the recent past, India and the UAE relations, they are continuously strengthening, and this is another milestone that Major General Yusuf Mayuf Saeed and Al-Halimi commander of the United Arab Emirates Land Forces, and he met General Upendra Dwivedi, Chief of Army Staff of Indian Army, and they discussed about the strengthening bilateral ties between two forces and fostering the deeper military engagements and reinforcement, and they have shared the commitment of both the armies, and it is expected that in the coming time both the armies will definitely work together and for the training and other for sharing the other skills with each other. And definitely this is not only to help both the countries for bilateral ties, but also share their experiences and exercises with each other. And definitely this is another step as far as the strengthening India's by a friendly relation with the other neighboring countries, and countries those who are having ties with India's ties with the countries, whether it is UAE or the other countries in the world.
All right, appreciate you joining us, Ajay, with those details. More breaking news meanwhile also coming in. President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, is in Japan, the second stop of his Asia diplomacy tour, and today he has met with the Japanese Emperor Naruhito at Tokyo's Imperial Palace. He is scheduled to meet with Japan's first female Prime Minister, Sane Takaichi, tomorrow. Trump is also planning to speak to U.S. troops aboard the USS George Washington. So those are, of course, pictures of that meeting that the United States President is held there in Japan as he continues his Asia tour. Let's slip into a short break on that note.
आपके घर के खाने में